So what's the point of the business meeting computer analogy? I think that I'd like to make the point that we're talking about big data in this series. We're talking about lots of quantitative data that we have to deal with. Big data means that the data, the way computers are built, data always has to exist on the whiteboard in order to be processed by the CPU. And it can only really be processed on whiteboards where the people are in the same meeting room. Having the data on a different whiteboard in another meeting room isn't meaningful in any way. You have to have the data on the whiteboard. The whiteboard is limited compared to other forms of storage. Yes, we have a lot more whiteboard space today than we've ever had before. We have a lot more memory available in computers today than we've ever had before. But thinking about the cost of maintaining your meeting minutes for the meetings that you're attending on whiteboards, adding whiteboards to a meeting room to keep all of those meeting minutes, that's a pretty expensive thing to do. Certain kinds of problems, for example, if you're in a crisis situation of some sort of business problem, you might need a lot of whiteboards. And there are certain kinds of problems where having the data always exist on the whiteboard makes sense. It's cost effective to do that. But it always limits you to the amount of data because whiteboard is always, I think, is always going to be more expensive than other forms of storage. But the speed of getting data from the binders onto the whiteboard is the other part of the problem. You can't deal with big data if the speed of the processing as a single person writing at the whiteboard, that just is going to take forever for the data to get there. So these problems of the speed, network is the slowest, the binders are the next slowest, the whiteboard's the fastest. Those are things you have to understand when you think about big data. You need to understand that the data has to exist in one meeting room. It can be processed within one room. There can be multiple CPUs that access that, but really it's only accessed by in one meeting room at a time. So those are the elements I think that are important as you consider how you're going to use big data. And when you think about the tooling, if you'll think about those aspects of how the tooling comes to bear upon that data, which the requirements are in the data, it'll help you in setting up and managing a big data project.